Okay, everyone, we are going to get started as we want to cover as much as we possibly can today in one session. So if for those of you that have your video on, you can actually stop the video in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you want to turn off that video, as we will not be, we've been asked not to use video today. So just to get things started, I wanted to start off by thanking everyone for calling in today. We have about 150 to 200 people on the call today from every quarter of British Columbia. My name is Dale Wheeldon. I'm the President and CEO for the British Columbia Economic Development Association. And as much as I love talking to you all, I was, be nice if we didn't have to do that. But we are in a situation that we need to deal with. We do ask you to be patient with us, as this is a new process, and we're trying to make sure we provide you with as much value. So it's our first time using this system, the Zoom system, and so we're hoping that it works seamlessly as it seemed to in our testing. In order to facilitate an orderly discussion, we have muted everyone's phone. And in order to talk, we ask that you select the option in the menu, assuming that you're logged in online, to see the presentations. There's a spot on your menu that says raise your hand. If you can raise your hand, we do have people monitoring the system so that when it gets to the Q&A, we'll be able to go in the order that your hands are raised. If you can also ask questions by using the chat option, as that is also being monitored. Please select all when you ask the question, because it is being monitored off-site. I will not personally be monitoring it, so we keep track of all the questions. I will note the questions are as they're coming across live on another screen in my office from the person that's monitoring them. As you know, these are difficult times. One thing about the current disaster is that we're all in it together, and together we will get out of it. Are we worried about the future? Sure, but who isn't? I take great pride in the fact that the BC Economic Development Association Board of Directors, my only staff member, Ashley Volz, see the need to jump in and do what we can to help support communities, the province of BC, businesses, and many others at this difficult time. It should be stated that this is not BCEDA's first venture into economic disaster recovery, but it is by far our largest. The BC Economic Disaster Recovery Program was established in 2012. We were the very first in Canada to establish an economic recovery team. As a matter of fact, we like to say that we were cool before everybody else was, because we knew that something was going to happen, and we needed to make sure that we were prepared, that our organization was prepared, and we needed to try to do what we could to make sure that communities were prepared. We have done a number of economic disaster recovery initiatives throughout Canada, but we've also done a number of them in the United States. We can go to communities when asked, and if there's resources available. And that is always a challenge, as you all know. The number of initiatives that we've done includes the Burns Lake mill explosion. In Southern Alberta in 2013, we did a number of economic recovery plans following the flooding. In Washington, D.C., we were involved in developing the United States Economic Recovery Framework, and it's a program that's actually being used today in the United States to help put out some of the programs that are being offered. We also did a number of other initiatives that are directly related to working with businesses. All of them do in one way or another. I'm just going to highlight a couple of others. One was Grand Forks, and in addition to doing recovery plans, we did business assessments, and which is why the business retention and your ability to reach out to businesses is so important to us. We think it's critical. We've helped also in the Virgin Islands in the United States. We developed an assessment tool for the United States government to use in assessing the impacts, the economic impacts on the islands. Those are actually being used in the U.S. and in other areas now. We did the same sort of process on the U.S. Mariana Islands in January, where they were hit with typhoons. And we went in and we talked to businesses and we're helping them establish a long-term business retention and expansion program. These are always at the request of the International Economic Development Council and the Economic Development Administration from the United States government. This is a disaster like no other. We do our training, we do sessions, we talk about disease, we talk about hurricanes, we talk about wildfires, and the need for you to prepare your communities. In this case, this is really a disaster like no other. It is province-wide, and it's country-wide, it's North American-wide, and it's worldwide. And so the impacts that we're seeing are broad-ranging, all-encompassing, and I don't believe there's a sector in our economies that aren't feeling the impacts, in some areas positively, in some areas negatively. We wanted to start off today just by briefly talking about what it is that the BC Economic Development Association is doing to deal with this situation the best that we can. We started off by launching a COVID-19 webpage. You can find that webpage on the front page of the BCEDA website or typing in the address as it is here. That will lead you to a number of different resources for communities and resources for business. And we've divided those up, and as we go along, we continue to try to make things better and easier to find. The one-on-one, the resource manual that we've developed, the resources for BC Business Guide, is being shared by the province of British Columbia. It's being shared by many associations across the province. Financial institutions are using it as their go-to guide. We're quite happy with the work that Ashley in particular has put into this document, and it's really making a huge difference. We did do a partnership with the BC Chamber of Commerce, the BC Business Council, Community Futures of BC, and did the first province-wide survey with over 8,000 responses. We are providing one-on-one guidance to communities. We participate in the COVID-19 cabinet, which is made up of about 70 different industry associations across the province, including tourism associations, hotel associations, construction associations, business associations of all sorts. This is we communicate twice weekly, and we share what we're hearing, what's going on, and then recommendations are made to government on things that they should be doing. There's been great work come out of the cabinet so far. We've issued calls for volunteers, for people to get assistance in business outreach in other areas. We're also looking for professionals that are willing to provide one-on-one assistance to businesses pro bono, not charging for their time. It's always hard to get volunteers, but it's particularly hard to get volunteers when you have every community in the province is part of the disaster. We have some regular calls with different ministers that we're involved in. We also have we launched a free COVID-19 module for BC BusinessCounts. That module is live. There's some communities that are using it. It's available to every single community in British Columbia, whether you're a member of BC BusinessCounts or not. You can get a login access to be able to upload businesses, to be able to use the COVID-19 module to contact businesses and enter the information. It's been set up in such a way that allows for easy entry of information, and from start to finish takes about 3 minutes. The questions cover a broad range of issues currently being faced in the province. You can get reports sent to you. These can be set up easily. You can get reports sent to you monthly, weekly, daily, whatever it is you decide. And you have the ability to filter the information by sector. It is the only survey that you'll get in the province today that allows you to find out the information specifically as to what's happening in your community. You filter the information yourself. You run the reports yourself. It is the only way to really get that at your local level, other than doing SurveyMonkey or doing your own types of surveys in other ways. But then, of course, it's not linked to businesses, and you have no ability to use it for other methods. You can do we do not suggest, as you all know, we're really strong on encouraging business retention and expansion at the local level, and we always say go face to face, don't phone. It's all about building the relationship. In this instance, you can't do that, and we totally think you need to respect that social distancing and don't even attempt to do that. There are different methods that you can use, and there's a number of communities that are using different methods. There's telephone calls, phoning, literally just picking up the phone and phoning the businesses. I know that the Quesnel area is looking at setting up, I believe, a hotline where businesses can phone in. We would have loved to have done that provincially, but our call center that would have done it had to be really careful with the COVID-19 issue on their own and all the staff. So, of course, things have been scaled down there. The email campaigns, electronic surveys, you can do some virtual town halls, which I believe is being done in areas in the Okanagan, in the Kootenays. I believe Trail is doing virtual town halls. And you can do focus groups by sector, and you can use a lot of different things like Zoom, GoToMeeting, or other areas. We wanted to give you some tips for response and recovery, and this comes from many years of experience in disasters, a lot of experience in that area, but also our access to a lot of different information. Some of you may have seen these. We have added some to our website that you can actually look at for communities. There's the types of things that you can do for response and recovery, and I know a number of communities are using that as to help start their program. We do suggest a number of different things to local governments. For example, ensure that economic development is part of the EOC. So if you are establishing emergency operations centers, or you're activating that in your communities, make sure that the economic development officer is part of that. Establish business response and recovery team, a restart team to when things start getting back to normal, have that team already preparing or have already prepared initiatives to help kickstart the economy. Establish a referral network of volunteers in your community, or even of other agencies that you can refer concerns to that you're hearing from businesses. Expand your volunteer network to get more people to help you in your engagement. Don't just think you can email. You might need to use radio, social media, electronic email, newspapers, and local media. For an example, to communicate with businesses. Something that the City of Coquitlam just launched was they've just launched a new program for a video from the mayor talking to the businesses about what City Hall is doing. Businesses really need to have that targeted communication because they're dealing with some pretty major impacts, as is every resident, and we need communications with them while we're talking about the business side of things. Make sure that you're designing the information sources that can talk directly to those business owners. Talk to financial institutions so that you're completely aware as to what it is that they're offering your businesses. Talk to local and external landlords, commercial and residential. We've got programs in place in the province to deal with the residential rent and the inability to pay. We have not established a program in British Columbia on commercial. We are recommending it. We are talking with UDI about, and we've sent some stuff to the province suggesting that a program be put in place to help with commercial tenants. Talk to your commercial businesses also about insurance. Your local businesses need to know that there are, if your business is closed down, most insurance policies have a 30-day clause. So if your business is not open for 30 days, your insurance can become null and void. So your businesses need to contact their insurance companies to inform them as to what's going on. And most insurance companies, we were talking to the Insurance Bureau of Canada about this, most insurance companies are just saying that's good as long as they're informed, and they might give specific instructions for the business owner to do, but at least they're protected should something happen. You need to expand community and business transition centers. I imagine many of you, and as sad as this is to say, that were impacted by the forest industry. You probably have set up community and business transition centers where businesses can go and have confidential discussions. You probably shut them down because of the pandemic, but you probably have a line going. Make sure that we're just saying, if you've got this set up, make sure it's being well marketed and that you're offering more services than just related to what it was originally intended for. Talk to businesses while respecting the social distancing, as we've talked about. Encourage shop local programs. Consider deferrals of payments of utilities and other areas where you have control. Prepare to fast-track permits to allow for an accelerated restart to the economy. Hopefully some people can be working now in construction. They have not been stopped. In some areas they are, but in most areas they are still allowed to do construction. If there's ability for you to fast track permits and get those permits out the door so that things can start now or start immediately when restrictions are lifted, try to do that. And also, we're also hearing concerns about potentially home-based business bylaws being enforced. And so you're encouraging, everybody's encouraging people to work out of their homes. And let's focus on allowing these people to work rather than worrying about if they're working from their home and maybe there's two people or whatever. Like, let's not worry about what's happening there at this point in time. Maintain and market a list of businesses are still open. There's some great ones out there. The city of Kelowna, I believe, has one. I can't remember what it's called, but Kelowna has a great site going right now. And I believe it's people can list themselves if their businesses are still open, but it's a great, the amend some procurement policies to buy local where possible. Tell some good news stories, create optimism. So if there's things happening in your community, create as much optimism as you can. And when I say things happening, it's the banging of the pots. It's the, maybe there's a special shop here today type thing and it's an online thing or something. But anything that you're doing that can create good news, or say a new permit is issued, let those things be known. Don't hide it. Don't think it's not newsworthy because it's not COVID. It is newsworthy because it's creating those good news. The worst thing that we could do is just focus on negatives. Circulate to businesses the federal and provincial procurement opportunities. If you haven't looked at our link, look at our link. Our document is always up to date. Ashley is adding stuff to it all the time. It's live. When something is added, you see it added. It is added instantly. So you don't have to upload a new document. It is uploaded instantly. Consider the mental health issues. We're hearing a lot of stories about local government not taking, local government employees really being impacted by mental health issues in dealing with the public and dealing with things. And it's important to reach out to somebody that can help those people through that. This can be a very stressful time, and we need to acknowledge that. And plan for when this all ends, because it will. We need to know that this will end. And we can't just think it's going to stay this way forever. It will end, and make sure that you've got a plan in place so that as quickly as we can, we should try to get businesses up in operation and do what we can to promote that they're open, and all kinds of different things like street parties, do whatever you can to drive people to those areas. Do what you can do now. Plan for what you can do later. Focus on the projects you have the ability to implement and not on the projects you'll need funding from for others. I was talking to a mayor from the community, the Kootenays, today, and he was fantastic in talking about what their team is doing and the work that they're doing and how they're designing exactly that. They're designing those projects that they can do now, and a plan for when things happen, that when things are removed, that you can start to focus on what it is then, and we can apply for the funding that we'll need to carry some of those things out. But don't stop working, don't start helping just because you haven't got funding. Now, I just want to add a couple of things that have come in, I believe, in some of the texts that have come in, and I was kind of waiting for this. The Vancouver Island today, the Vancouver Island Trust, the Island Coastal Trust has launched 2 urgent recovery programs for Vancouver Island in partnership with Tourism Vancouver Island and Innovation Island Technology Association. I was talking yesterday to Lynn. These are 2 amazing programs, and one, the Innovation Island Technology one, will help businesses set up their online stores and help people get, broaden that. I encourage you all to look online for that news release. It's come out and it's just gone out just now. So please go online and look at that. And then we're hearing a lot of comments, and we want everybody to know we are taking what you're typing into this about what it is you're doing, and we're going to be making a list. And that list we'll share so that other communities know what other communities are doing. And I'm hoping that you'll all be willing to take calls from people to see how it's working for you. They embrace the work at home concept. Ensure Main Street survives. There are predictions out there right now, especially in the United States, that as many as 75% of Main Street businesses will not survive. We can't allow that to happen. We need to be working with these businesses now and doing what we can to support them. List the businesses that are still open. If there's no delivery options in your community, create one. And remember that every business counts. We have a habit of working with our large businesses or business in one specific sector, whether it's forestry, whether it's mining, whether it's agriculture. We need to work with every business. Every single business in a community counts, and we need to make sure that we're working with them regardless of their size, because they're all making an economic impact in your community. And please remember that another disaster will happen. The BC wildfire near Lytton last week. It's something that could be happening in your communities at any given time, and we've got to remember that. And you've got to expand your EOC. You've got to look at those things to make sure that when another disaster happens, and it will, that you're ready for it to happen, because it could happen at the same time as we're dealing with COVID. Let's talk about what some communities are doing, and I'm only going to talk about this briefly. So we've got the Cranbrook and Kimberley area. They've got an economic resiliency task force that they've set up. They were one of the first ones to get going. We're going to have them talk about that shortly. The district of Tumbler Ridge and Lillooet both have developed delivery services in partnership with local businesses and volunteers. Fantastic initiatives, fantastic ways to do those things. Hawaii First Nations are gathering information from First Nation businesses, looking for assistance, working with volunteers, and delivering supplies to elders and others. And that's something we need to remember, or the seniors in our community. What can we do to help them? The City of Port Alberta is actually phoning every single business, and they've contracted with the Chamber of Commerce to help in that outreach. Think Local First Victoria is supporting businesses by allowing customers to purchase gift cards to use in the future, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And also the BC Farmers Market, your farmers market should have a program in place to be able to work with farmers markets to do their work online. So those types of programs are all there. We did have, I believe we were hoping to have Michelle on the line from Think Local First to talk about the Support Local BC. I'm not so sure that she's on the line. So is Michelle here? I don't believe Michelle's here, so I'm just I'll briefly talk about it. It's a partnership between, Michelle says she is here. I'm sorry, again, going back to, this is a learning exercise. So Michelle, what are you registered as? If you could, there you are right there. Never mind, I had your name spelled wrong. So Michelle, you're unmuted, Michelle.
Great, thank you so much, Dale. Good afternoon, everyone. As Dale said, my name is Michelle Hamilton. I'm the Managing Director of Think Local First in Victoria. We're a nonprofit, membership-driven organization that has over 200 local independent businesses, and our Shop Local mandate is to raise the awareness of those businesses in the community and to let the community know that when they spend their money with local businesses, more of it stays to circulate within our local economy. As Dale said, one of the things that we created to help our local businesses was Support Local YYJ. I did put the link to that initiative in the chat, but essentially what it is a platform with businesses that want to participate, and the only thing we sell on that platform is gift cards. So we have over 100 businesses listed on there. Gift cards are available in $5, $10, $25, $50, and $100 denominations. Right now, it is free for businesses to use because Van City partnered with us, and their partnership allows us to pay the payment processing fees. So businesses are receiving the full face value of those gift cards purchased. We have been talking with Dale from BCEDA, with Local BC, with Van City, and with a few other communities about the possibility of rolling that initiative out so other communities could also participate. And it really made me think when Dale was talking about not just planning for how do we get through this, but how do we come through it? And the idea of supportlocalbc.com could keep us all connected throughout the province. Any community that wanted to participate in businesses that wanted to participate after, you know, COVID-19 pandemic is over and we're able to roam freely and businesses are open again, they're going to need our support. But it also means that if I have a friend in Kelowna that I want to send a birthday gift to, I could buy a gift card from a business in Kelowna that I know he or she would love and send it to them. So that connection after COVID-19 really resonated with me when Dale was speaking about that. We are, as a working group, looking at scaling this initiative, as I said, and looking for partnerships for communities that would see value in being a part of this as well, to add their businesses to the supportlocalbc.com website. You can visit that website. It is not fully populated yet, but we have added Greater Victoria on there and Sun Peaks. If you wanted to see exactly how that process could work, have also created a document that would answer your questions about reporting, about how businesses would get the funds from the gift card sales, and a little bit of background on the initiative. I don't know if there are any questions, or Dale, if I've missed any pertinent points that I should be sharing.
No, that's great. I think it's a really good program. We're excited to be part of it. We look forward to sending out information to everybody once we get everything finalized here, and hopefully get more communities on the system. I think it's a great opportunity to support those businesses that are either open or not open in the community right now. So thanks very much. The next one I'm going to ask for is Darren Brewer from the Cranbrook, Kimberley, Connexa, Eight Nation area. You guys have set up you've set up a transition team, and I'm just wondering if you could spend a few minutes talking about what it is you're doing.
Okay. Dale, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're unmuted. Yep.
All right, perfect. Thanks everyone for being here today. As Dale indicated, my name's Darren Brewer. I'm the Business Development Officer for the City of Cranbrook, and I'll just share with you some of the things we did to set up the Economic Resiliency Task Force in our city. This initiative started on the 17th. I don't know if Dale want me to tell everyone this, but he was one of the first people we called, and Dale answered the call immediately and helped us set up. So kudos to Dale for being there. So thank you for that. From that call, though, we created this task force. So this is led by local politicians, mayors. We have Mayor Lee Pratt from the City of Cranbrook, Mayor Don McCormick from the City of Kimberley, Mayor Carl Sturzer from Canal Flats. We have our MP Rob Morrison and Tom Shapika, our MLA, as kind of the guidance, the leadership group. We have representation from Tanaha First Nation, and obviously support from the BCEDA. Locally, we engage different stakeholders, and this is in all the different cities that are a part of this. And it includes the chambers, the tourism boards, the DBA, Community Futures. Flinro has been a big help to us in this endeavor as well. Now, what we wanted to do is we wanted to be simple and direct in our approach. Like there's literally hundreds of calls out there right now for help, and truth is we can't do it all. So we wanted to do a few things very well and have an impact. And I mean, the overarching strategy is to try to fill the gaps from the federal and provincial support and stimulus packages that are out there. Really kind of put that local lens on how we're going to respond to this. So what we did is we created this task force. Like I said, it's a collaborative initiative representing our area. Our goal is to create strategies to help our business community during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, our initial approach is into two groupings: immediate or during the pandemic, and then post-shutdown or after the pandemic. The efforts are going to be focused on potential items that have the greatest consensus, have a meaningful impact, and are viewed as realistically achievable. So what we've done is created some focus areas. It's a bit of a derivative of the 12 steps over 12, the list of 12 that the BCEDA has published as, what you should do. But we've kind of summed it down into 5. It's to limit the economic impact, to establish establish connections with local volunteer networks, establish clear communication protocols, establish business restart teams, and to create recovery initiatives. Now, to do this, there's probably about 15 or so of us on this task force. We've broken up into working groups. We have 3 different working groups: a communications team, a community measures team, and a business transition team. And we've put strong personalities and leaders as at the head of each of these working groups, with the idea of these groups working independently to a common goal. The initial goals were to start developing the working plan, discover potential approaches to deliver, figure out the roles of the members in the working groups to deliver on our mandate. The truth is right now is this is unprecedented. Like, I mean, a lot of us don't have the answers that we wish we had, right? So, I mean, we really had to define who we wanted to be and where we wanted to go. Right now, our deliverables are to deliver business plans for each of the initiatives that we come up with, and to also create a set of standard operating procedures. We want to document this, as Dale had indicated just a short while ago. Something's going to happen again. So, I mean, it's very smart, I think, to document this, memorialize it, and use it for future planning. So, Dale, that's all I have for you, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Great, thanks very much, Darren. Robert Fine, if you happen to be on the call and you've put in your phone number as your name, could you type it into the chat, to a private chat to me or something, to let me know what if you're on the line, and if you how I can unmute you. Scott, I'm going to ask you to talk about what Powell River's doing. I'm going to unmute you. Scott, you should be unmuted, I think.
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much, Dale. And thanks for inviting us to be a part of this today. And thanks to the BCEDA as well for hosting these sessions. I think they're going to be really important going forward, and as we share information with each other as communities. For those that aren't familiar with Powell River, we're a city of about 13,500. Regionally, we're about 21,000. Business-wise, over 2,000 businesses in the region. We've had a business retention and expansion program through BC BusinessCounts since 2011. We approach BRNE a little differently than other communities in that we're out there interviewing businesses every week, so keeping in touch with them. Since the state of emergency was put in place, or maybe just a little bit before it, actually, we started responding, getting information out to businesses about the supports that have been put in place by the provincial and federal governments. As soon as the COVID-19 business survey was made available through BC BusinessCounts and Executive Pulse, we started working on getting that survey in motion. We took a different tact, as Dale mentioned earlier in his presentation. I've only got one person working on BRNE, and our resources are limited. So what we did was we decided to go online. We went electronic, like a number of communities in the province. We have an engagement platform as well called, that's produced by Bang the Table, called Engagement HQ. Our particular version of the platform is Participate Powell River. So we decided to rebuild the survey into to Participate Powell River as an engagement, and start pushing it out to the business community through different channels, through our partner agencies. We're very lucky that we have a great relationship with a number of agencies in town that we work with on a number of different levels. Everything from Work BC to Community Futures to School District to Vancouver Island University and a number of others. So we've been pushing that survey out, went live late last Thursday. As of this afternoon, we're about 100 responses, just about to go over it, and it continues to build. We'll be running it through till next Friday. We want to give it a good 2-week span to try and reach out to as many people as possible. I can't say enough about the survey that was put together through BC BusinessCounts. It's pretty comprehensive, and as Dale says, it's pretty short and easy to answer. So what we've done, or what I've got here in front of you, is just a few slides to give you some of the results that we've got. So this is just gives you a cross section of the businesses. This is from last night's results. So we were about 676 surveys as of last night, and more came in today and overnight. But you can see there's a good cross section of businesses that are represented here. Not surprisingly, you see some from information and cultural industries, accommodations, and food services, obviously a big one, and arts, entertainment, and recreation. And those businesses in our community have been impacted greatly right now because we've had to cancel events and big events, such as our International Choir Festival that brings in 2,500 performers from 5 continents, as well as a symphony orchestra. Our International Symphony Academy has closed its operations, which welcomes faculty and students from all over the world as well. So those businesses typically during the summer really benefit from those events, and they're going to be impacted greatly. The shutdown of non-essential travel up and down the coast, of course, has affected those industries as well. Moving on, can I move slides here, Dale?
I'll move them for you.
Okay, so next slide. So this one, I don't know how much of it you can see, but this question basically is, what impacts are you as a business actually facing or experiencing? You can see the top one right here. Obviously, a reduction in revenue and sales is being reported. At this point in time, it was over 50. The next largest in line, of course, they're experiencing a decrease in demand for products and services. And another one, cancellation of important meetings, gatherings, and events that they depend on, as I alluded to. We're seeing a number of events canceled already, probably throughout the whole summer. Next slide, Dale.
Excellent. Okay.
Did I do it? No. Okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I took it from you.
So this slide is a snapshot of, we asked them if your revenues and sales are being impacted, by how much, what's a percentage, and really scary figure here. Out of the respondents, 53 of them, in this particular snapshot, that over 50% of their revenues and sales have been impacted as a result of COVID-19 so far. So I'm sure you're all seeing this on the ground in your own communities, but this information is very valuable to us. Next slide, please, Dale. So this is where they've been asked, what actions are you taking? And these are snapshots of some of the more important categories. Are you remapping or are changing your supply chains? Ours are saying, no, not really. We're lucky. Logistics are still pretty good. Transportation is still good, despite we're now reduced to ferry traffic only. And barge traffic. Are you going to change your marketing and sales efforts? Some thought it was fairly likely, but not a strong response. This is where we get interesting. General expenses and are you going to reduce them? Of course. Are you going to increase debt? This is a scary one. Well, a lot of very likely uncertainties. Workforce. You can see there, it's the most likely thing that's going to happen. And again, it's so important to get those supports out and people understand what's available to them, either the wage subsidy programs that's been made available to businesses. It's more effective for smaller businesses and medium-sized businesses, but larger ones not so much. But those resources are there, and making businesses aware that those resources are available, and that's what we've been pushing out through direct contact as well as through our social media. Next slide, Dale. This is results from responses from what businesses felt. They were asked to prioritize their top 3 actions that local, provincial, and federal government and other agencies can take to help them. Leading the pack, of course, is working with banks and lending institutions to offer zero interest loan guarantees or lines of credit. Not surprising. Give me access to cheap money right now to help me stay afloat, so that, or I can survive this and come out the back end and get back into business. As Dale says, that some businesses just may not have the wherewithal to launch again after this is done. We're not expecting that this is going to be a contracted event. This is going to be a longer term effect, and we have that possibility that we may not get some of these businesses back. Dale, like this one, the second largest event was, or response was, enhance economic development efforts to support local business. So we're assuming that means pouring more resources into it, as a lot of those of us in smaller communities know it's not easy to have a lot of money available for programming, but they really want to see more effort on the ground. which we're working on in regards to recovering plans, which will help build out of this data that we get. And again, taxes, remittances, and payments or penalties being reduced is something, or delayed of payment is another big item that we heard we had responses on. So that's really about it. I just wanted to mention the other part of this that's really important in regards to using that COVID-19 module, which Dale mentioned is free through BC BusinessCounts right now for communities. All the data you collect goes into the provincial database. So Dale and BCEDA will be able to produce reports sector by sector, or the province as a whole, to understand what's going on across the province. So the more we have using the COVID-19 module, the better. Anyways, that's again, Dale, for asking me to come and speak, and hopefully this was useful.
Great, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Scott. So we have some questions. I want to open it up now to questions and hopefully answers. We will answer to the best we can. If we don't know the answer, but there's a number of people from the province of British Columbia and also other departments and associations on the line as well. If they know the answer, if they could just type into the group chat, and then we'll again be monitoring that. So if you know an answer to that question, also if you have a question, type it into the chat, or you can raise your hand. I'm going to start off with a couple that actually came in through the chat first, and then I'll answer those ones that have raised their hand. Again, please, help us out by raising your hand. So the first question comes from, I won't say who they're from, just out of respect, but, well, actually, Leslie, you typed it in the chat, so it's good to go. Is anyone that has business licenses refunding businesses for the 2020 payment? Okay, Leslie, I'm just going to answer and say that I haven't heard that anybody is waiving their 2020 business license fees, but if there is anybody on the line that actually has waived business license fees, please let us know. The second, and Leslie, we're going to be taking these questions and trying to find out answers for you. So it might be that we'll send out a survey to people or to the communities to see if anybody's doing these sorts of things. The next question would be, the next question is from Rose, City Campbell River. Is economic development recognized by the province in the EOC? So I will take a stab at answering that based on my knowledge of the whole EOC process. So the EOC is set up by the municipality. The local government sets up the EOC, but they follow the rules and guidelines put out by the province of British Columbia through the Emergency Act that local governments need to have these plans in place. It always states that you need to have the 4 stages of a disaster, with recovery being one of them, as part of your plan. But our experience in British Columbia is that the majority of emergency management plans in the province do not recognize economic development. They do not recognize recovery. They do not recognize business, and they do not recognize other aspects of the economy. So they deal primarily with response. And that's great, except that it should include recovery, and it's something that we've been trying to do. We do believe that economic development should be part of it. It is part of it in some communities, and not in every community. So, Rose, I would encourage you to talk to your team there and see if there's a way to get economic development within the EOC. Nav, did you have a question that you wanted to ask? I am going to try to unmute you if I can get my mouse to work. Nav, you're unmuted. Nav, did you have a question?
Yeah, hi, how are you? Thank
Good,
you for
how are
all
you?
of the information, Dale. It's really been useful as we sort of progress through all of this. I just have a general sort of question that we've gotten from local businesses here and that we're trying to figure out an answer for. But basically, for businesses that hire subcontractors and they're not eligible for the $40,000 loan because their payroll is under $50,000, what are their options? Like,
That's that's a really good question, and we actually have asked that a similar type question to the federal government, the province. We have not got an answer to that yet. So
okay.
but I'm really, if you could do me a favor and email me that question,
For sure.
then what we'll do is it's always better if I have it coming from other areas as well.
Okay.
So if you could send it to me, that would be fantastic, and we'll work on getting an answer and then personally respond to you and then provide an answer next week to everybody. So
That's awesome. Thank you, Dale.
okay, thank you. Yep. The next person that actually had responded was Steve Pierce. Steve, I'm going to unmute you. Steve, you're unmuted. Did you have a question, everybody? Steve? Right.
Yeah, it may be a little bit early, but one of the things I wanted to bring up is this is a good time to start talking about continuity plans going forward, and I can see this being a key part of the vetting and financial requirements working with banks. And I'm not too sure if I know some of that's been getting out by the province, but it was almost a little bit too late. But what the plans are and in the accounting side, that's probably going to come as questions to them to help businesses understand economic stoppage, which maybe isn't covered by insurance like the current basis we're on right now.
Yeah, this probably wouldn't be covered by insurance because it's, from what we understand, insurance isn't something that people will be able to claim. But I do agree with you, our businesses need to be better planned to how we would deal with these types of situations. And I think the provinces, in the process or have been designing programs as part of this disaster that hopefully will be able to be used, not just the province, but the federal government, that now that they've got them set up, that they'll be in the toolkit. So the next disaster that happens, there'll be a quicker response, and their ability to provide more levels of assistance will be already in place.
Thank you.
Yeah. The next question will be, what advocacy, so this is from Kevin Cormack, what advocacy are you doing with the financial institutions, and have you identified any strategies? I can't read it. Have you identified any strategy that best assists business in working with their financial institutions? We haven't, but I'm wondering if anybody else has talked to their financial institutions, and what the success rate was of that. If anybody has an answer to that, let us know, and we'll.
I think a big part of this is businesses weren't planned for this.
Okay. Okay, the next question is really a good one. The province, there's a number of provincial people on the line, and I'm not sure, in fairness to them, that they can answer this particular point in time, but it's something that I'm sure will come up and is likely being talked about. Will more funds be made available for local governments to stimulate the economy? I am not aware of any funds at this particular point. I have been talking with different agencies to encourage that and different ministers, but at this particular point in time, it hasn't been mentioned to us, at least. And again, if there's anybody from the province that has an answer that they feel they want to provide, let us know. And while the province has set aside $1.5 billion for recovery, but I'm not sure if that's specifically for communities, or if it's for local governments, or if it's for broader initiatives. So I'm sure there's more details that'll come out of that later, and thanks, Mark, for that. Mike Gilbert is, what opportunities exist as to the deferral? So Amy Reed, you just mentioned that you are talking to financial institutions to get the best updated local contact for referrals, which I think is a really good idea. You need to have, and for those of you that are using the Executive Pulse, I think Amy is, she'll be able to send, actually create a link between the bank and the business through the BC BusinessCounts program. Make sure that you're doing what you can to create those linkages, and as much as I hate to say it, monitor to make sure that the follow-up's being done from the financial institutions. Most financial institutions, from what we've heard, and I've been communicating with a few of them, are actually quite responsive. So thanks for that, Jerry. It's they're working with a number of sectors, and we did hear yesterday during the cabinet call that there is some concerns within the tourism industry that some tourism sectors are being turned down for access to that loan guarantee. But I understand that that's being worked on. So Canada-wide, from what I understand, that the problem isn't that bad, but we're going to continue to monitor that to see, to make sure, because those are guaranteed by the federal government. So turning them down I'm not sure what the reasons would be. So again, Mike Gilbert asked, what opportunities exist as to deferral of property taxes and late penalties? The province of BC and through the community charter is looking at all of that stuff, and we're told that we might expect something this week. I have not got an answer for that yet, but we were supposed to get it. We had been told that we would know something early this week, but we still have not heard. So Mike, I'll make sure that I send you the information as soon as I get it. The next one is, has anyone elevated to their EOC request for funding to support staff capacity for response strategies? Can anybody answer that question? Scott, you're saying yes, you have. Scott, I'm going to unmute you then if I can here. Just a sec.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, you're unmuted. Yep.
I'm hoping that I got the question right, but I think you're referring to recovering costs of staff time responding to COVID-19. And yes, well, we've gone to EOC stage 1 in our community, which is really just a planning level. But I do know that internally at our city, any overtime or expenses that we have that are beyond or that are related to COVID-19 measures are being tracked, and we are claiming them separately through funding programs that have been put in place. So we expect to recoup those programs. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks very much, Scott. And I'm not sure if it did, but I think it did. And I'm sure that this will be an ongoing thing, and we'll continue to monitor this one as well. And Colin says, thanks, Scott. So Andrea Wilkie has a question. Has anyone created a Facebook filter for businesses to add to their profile image to communicate that they're still open? I'm not sure if anybody has or if they haven't. But if anybody does have an answer to that question, please feel free to send it to us. and we'll get these information out. Several, from what I understand, Andrea, just Pat Deacon has said that several of them are using Airtable. So Pat, I'm going to find you and unmute you and get you to answer that question. So, Pat, you're unmuted.
Thanks, Dale. Really appreciate this opportunity to learn what others are doing. We adopted Airtable after Comox let us know that that's what they were using to allow the businesses to let others know when they were open, the hours that they were doing, what services they were providing, that kind of thing. They've set it up so that the businesses can do that themselves. We got to start with ours. We actually spoke to over 300 businesses, and we had that information, so we input it, made it available, and the businesses will make the changes as we go forward.
Okay, thanks. I understand too, there's a couple of examples being posted online here right now in the group chat. Again, we'll send this out to everybody. We'll go through and filter this chat and send out key information that's been posted. So Ryan Wadma posted a link to Profile Tech Frames on Facebook. And then Bridget, you posted an example of Comox Valley's using Airtable. So, and I think Rose Cluck is here using Airtable as well. So that's great. I'm going to ask Terry O'Keefe. Terry, you have mentioned that you are at EOC, and maybe if you could just explain. I am going to unmute you, so you're unmuted. Terry, are you still there? Terry?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, Terry, you commented there on the EOC level 2, so maybe you could just expand on that a little bit for Colin.
Yeah, so this is just the information. I'm a counselor, Town of Sydney, so this is just information we got from our CAO last week because we were wondering about the considerable expense it's having to operate at EOC at level 2, and of course that impacts our services. So my understanding is that the only costs that are recoverable would be any costs for overtime or other incidental expenses, as far as I know. So so it'd be nice. My initial understanding was that perhaps all of that would be covered by the provincial government because you know, having so many of our town staff in the EOC at level 2 puts a serious crimp in the services that we can provide to the public. So anyway,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much, Terry. And again, I'm going to, out of respect for everybody's time, and I have another conference call in 20 minutes. So I can't just hang up. I've got to ask this question. Where local government is a landlord, airport tenant leases, does rental relief constitute a subsidy to business? That's a really good question. I'm thinking that we're going to probably need to seek out an answer from the province on that one, and I'm not sure if anybody is on the line from the province. You know what, Scott? I know they manage their own airport, so Scott, you're going to answer this one. I'm going to unmute it and see if you know the answer. Scott, you're on the line.
Yeah, so one of the part of my portfolio is city-owned properties, and especially our lease portfolio. I can tell you, we don't believe you're in the position where you can provide or basically waive lease payments, so taking a lack of payment, but you can provide deferrals. And I know one of my larger tenants, we just did a 3-month deferral where we put a letter of agreement in place where we basically set a deadline for when those deferred lease payments would be made up. without penalty. So it's not considered to be direct assistance to business. You're not breaking the contract. Those payments will be made down the line. So you do have that ability to do that, and we have done it with one other commercial tenant in a building that we own, whereas we've deferred their payments for a couple months, with again a defined period of when those payments will be made up.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Scott. And hopefully, Mike, that answers your question. And we will also just do a little bit more checking on different things, just to make sure that everything, that we can get the answers to your questions. I just want to close the call by saying that we understand there's all kinds of things happening in every single community. We have done a survey of communities, which we'll probably repeat to see what it is that they're doing. I think we will repeat that survey in the next few days, so that we have a catalog of what is happening around the province. We talked to an awful lot of communities. It literally goes from morning to night to provide advice, to provide assistance to communities. Ashley has done an amazing job. If we can't find the answer or don't know the answer, we're going to tell you that right away, and we're going to try to find answers. We're getting calls from businesses and emails from businesses looking for assistance, and we are referring those off to the appropriate local government to answer or to help, and if not, we can help. I want to thank you all for participating in today's call. The next call will have different topics. We're going to have different speakers for every session, but we're also going to continue to talk about best practices, things that are happening that are working and maybe not working in different communities, and also spend as much time as we possibly can on Q&A and share it again with everybody. We think it's important that you have access to as much information as possible. I know we can maybe get the information overload, but without the answers, if you have questions, we want to be able to try to provide answers to that for you. I'm confident that together we're all going to come through the other side, and when we do, our communities and our economy will prosper. BCED will be there when that time comes. We want to support the return to normalcy, your ability to retain and to attract businesses, your new residents and tourists alike. If you have things that you like BCEDA to do, please just ask. We can't guarantee it. We get zero funding at this particular point in time to support this. We're doing what we can with the funds that we have, thanks to the incredible support from communities through our auction, and we'll continue to do as much as we possibly can. So if you have ideas or things, please do not hesitate to ask, because we want to try to find ways to provide what it is you need. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Have a safe week. Try to get some rest on the weekends, because you're always going to need them, and spend them time with your families, because you can't go out and leave them alone anyways. So there you go. Have a great day, and thanks again for calling in.